The Bamboo Project podcast starts in 3, 2.
Welcome to the Bamboo Project podcast. My name is Donovan Gray, the future $10 billion man. On the way to 10 billion, I decided I'm going to help create 1,000 millionaires, including myself. And not by being a guru or selling a course, but by doing the things I already love to do every day and documenting the journey to get there. I figure I'll make all the mistakes so you don't have to. My name is Donovan Gray, and this is how I will turn my life into a living. I'd like to start off by giving a shout out to all the people rocking with us and supporting the channel. We really appreciate you. We are currently streaming on all major streaming platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor, you name it, we on it. And if we not on it, we about to be on it. For everyone listening to this podcast and not watching it, you can find us on YouTube at The Bamboo Project. We have over 400 videos on our channel. Do you want to learn real estate? We got that. Do you want cooking tutorials inspired by Dr.Sebi? We got that. Do you want travel and lifestyle vlogs? Got it. Hair and makeup? Got it. Basketball? Got it. Turo? Got it. It's everything us. All the parts of the journey that don't make it to YouTube will be on our story. You can find me on Instagram at Donovan Gray, DONIVANGRAY, and my phenomenal, beautiful, amazing girlfriend, Anita Byrne, ANETABURN. The Bamboo Project is about turning your life into a living by making money off the things you already do every day. We made different playlists for all the things we're into, and you can find all of those links in the description box below. This may be your first time here, and if it is, welcome to the family. But for everyone else, this is chapter 3, page 128. Okay, this podcast has 4 different segments. We have the life update, episode playback, Donovan's questions, and the topic of the day. All video and audio timestamps will be in the description box below. Today's date is August 30th, 2022, and it's 4:13 p.m. Now, before we get into the life update and the topics of the day, we always start with everyone's favorite part of the podcast. Yay! Woo! Okay, so that is screen time. All right, and I say this every single week for all the new people here. All right, if I don't take advantage of my phone, then my phone is taking advantage of me. And to become a billionaire, I'm pretty sure I have to be the one winning that fight. Last week, I was on my phone for an average of 8 hours and 13 minutes per day. Okay, my most used app was YouTube, which was for 21 hours and 34 minutes, which this is the average per week. So the daily average is 3 hours per day. Okay, haven't used that before. Instagram was number 2, and number 3 was Safari. And I used my daily average for Instagram was 2 hours and 4 minutes a day. Do you think that's high? Think that's high?
2 hours a day on Instagram?
Yeah. I feel like that's kind of high. I feel like it should be closer to like an hour or 15.
I feel like it's not consecutive. So probably not.
Let's see. If I was up for 8 hours and I use my phone, I use Instagram for 10 hours, 10 minutes an hour for 8 hours. That would be 60 hour and 20 minutes.
10 minutes an hour for 8 hours, yeah. So it's, I think if you use it, that's 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, we put like that's not that crazy, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on your goals and stuff.
Right. Listen, I
feel like one thing that I've been battling with is that like you need to rest. You need to.
We can rest. Like, what do you mean rest? Like rest with Instagram or rest off of Instagram?
I think that Instagram kind of helps to decompress.
Okay.
So I would put that towards the rest pile, where it's like, okay, I'm not actively thinking about anything. I'm not actively trying to improve anything. I'm not like, you just need to yes, I'm looking at the cat play with the garbage can. That's what I'm doing. So I think that is needed, in my opinion.
It's interesting, because I feel like I want to cut it down because I have an idea of how much screen time I feel like people have at a certain like monetary or net worth, put it that way. And I feel like when I break it down, it's not a lot when you break it down. When you look at it as a whole, it looks like a lot more to me.
I can agree with that. And then it's kind of like, what is your goal? What are you trying to do? Are you trying to not
Never use it, never touch it for 5, 10 minutes, 20 minutes a day.
20 minutes a day.
Maybe an hour. 20 minutes for sure.
Why?
Because it's bad for you and it kills the brain and it shortens your attention span and it is unhealthy and causes issues and it creates a lifestyle that people cannot have and it causes depression and anxiety and
I think that, well, if that's how you feel, I don't think it necessarily does all of that. I think it depends on what you're doing and what, like, while you're on it. Because are you looking at other people that have for the guys? Are you looking at this guy's traps at his shoulders and it's like, how am I getting my shoulder like that?
Of course, yep. That is the only reason I'm on Instagram, to look at how to get my traps bigger like other men. That is it, only reason. And my rhomboids. So.
Right, that's not what you're doing. So it's kind of like, if you're not comparing yourself to the people that you're seeing, I don't know how it could be really detrimental to you.
It's also a waste of time. I could be working harder, Melissa.
And that's the problem.
More work. Who needs to relax?
Bro, that productivity trap is crazy.
Just work 24. As soon as I wake up, I'm working. They don't have time to be not working. Okay?
I think that
if you broke,
I think that for the amount of work that we do in the day, having a way to decompress, especially since we can't go outside.
You decompress by doing work somewhere else.
Can't afford outside, so you just gonna decompress with your phone. I think that's just
You do push-ups. That's how you decompress. You do push-ups, and then when you go back to work, then you do a little jog around the block. That's how you decompress. Okay. Work on your sex game, guys. If you want to decompress, there's no time for relaxing until you're rich. That's that's new way of life on social media. You wanna rest? You're broke bitch. That happens. You don't be out here relaxing unless you're rich. But yes, let me go back to what I was saying on my screen time. So it actually, let me see, it actually was down, but it's up now, but it was down before. I picked up my phone on average 130 times a day, which is obscene. Honestly, the reason why is because the last 2 podcasts were doing pretty well, so that's why I was responding to a lot of comments. That's really it. And obviously we had some stuff happen. It's not big stuff, but just like responding to Instagram things. And then my third is messages. So those are mine. What is your screen time for the week?
My screen time for the week is 7 hours and 17 minutes.
Oof, shit.
Yeah, I was not. Yeah, last week was a decompressing week.
Should have been working, Melissa. Been working harder, faster, bigger.
Have my lady stuff.
Nah, it's not an excuse. No excuses. Should have been doing handstands.
So my most used app was TikTok for almost 13 hours, then Instagram for 12 hours, and then Google Maps for 6 hours. I also played Tetris for 3 hours. And then my average amount of pickups last week was 124. My most pickups was on Sunday. Oh, and it's actually down 14% from last week at 124.
I'm honestly higher than yours, and that's usually never happens.
Exactly. I think heard that. I'm like, that's interesting. My most pickups was Sunday for 189, and the first app that I used after pickup was Instagram.
Yeah, my biggest one was 173. That was on Monday, and the podcast went up on Sunday. So I'm like, I'm not surprised, but either way, I actually want to add something new after screen time check, subscriber check, and view count check. All right, so today we are at 5,355 subscribers, and our channel we are at 383,221 views for the lifetime of our channel. Cause I feel like
I like the subscriber check. I don't really like the views.
Yeah, because I feel like the views, it changes by like. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We are on to the life update. Let's see, what should I start with? I'm starting with the house. All right. Gonna be short today because obviously, the house is not really as big of a factor in our life anymore. We kind of over the house hump. to some degree. So we've had a couple of showings. Our house is doing well on Zillow. It said our house is more likely to sell than 95% of houses nearby. Then 2 or 3 days later, it said that our house is 99% more likely to sell than other houses in the area. So that is always exciting. We have, I think, like 600 or 700 views and maybe 30 something saves on the listing. So that is great. We had a couple of people went to the house. We had some showings. We had an open house. The feedback has been great. The only things that we've heard that have not been the best is just the area, pretty much, and then probably the house next door. So what I just actually got yesterday was I don't know how this works. This is how I think it works. I think they have like a software that agents use. So when other agents come to your house, they can input what their buyer thinks about the house, and then they kind of compile all of it, and then it gets sent to me. So what we have most recently, I'm hoping we get one of these every week. That would be kind of great. It's called Showtime, and it has listing activity report. Okay. It says we had 3 showings this week and 2 open houses. The feedback was positive regarding the house. One group is concerned about the neighborhood. One group said pricing is on the high side and we are awaiting feedback from the last showing. Also, we had a few groups come by the open house, one of which expressed some real interest. We are following up to see if they want to submit an offer. I will keep you posted. So that is great to me. That sounds like that's great news. We had the open house last week, and the agent that was doing the open house, she was a little bit let's call her scary, apprehensive, anxious, one of those words. Y'all can choose the word y'all want to use. But as she was showing the house and we were on the phone because we had to get the Wi-Fi reset up, she was asking me questions about different parts of the house. She was like, oh, I noticed that the brick wall, there's a gap on the wall, one of the bricks. And, I think it would be terrible if something were to come through the wall or any type of material and then a kid would inhale it and get sick. I'm like, yeah, that's not really likely because all the walls are sealed. Even if there is a hole on the wall, it's sealed. Then she said, well, yeah, I was in the backyard and I noticed that an antenna from the house next door was leaning on the gate that you guys had that showing, and that gate is metal. So, what happens if a kid were to walk over there and touch the gate and get electrocuted? And I was just kind of like, well, it's an antenna and I don't think it carries enough electricity to kill a child or even harm a child. But I appreciate you for caring. And then she said, oh yeah, I was in the basement and I noticed that you guys had this wire that was going into the ground by the electric panel. What's that for? And I was just like, yeah, it's for the grounding. She was like, oh, well, what happens if a kid touches it? Are they gonna get hurt? And I was just like, well, the reason that is there is so that in case that there is a surge of, I believe it's either current or I'm pretty sure it's current. I don't know the exact. They kind of get confused between the two. But if we have 200 amps in the house, if by some means that gets reaches capacity, then the grounding wire is used to then take out that electricity out of the house, so there's not an actual fire. So if your child is holding on to this wire while the house is having a surge or is struck by lightning, then they might feel some type of heat or some type of shock if they're touching that wire at that time. So that is a possibility. But that's like saying, hey, we live in this house. What if the house falls down on top of me? It's like, yeah, it's possible. You could die, but that is very unlikely. But she kept bringing those things up, and I have this feeling that she might have told that to a buyer. We are not sure because we have a ring in the house. So whenever somebody comes over, we're like, oh, let's see who comes in, see, listen a little bit, and then see like, okay, this is how it's going. But for the most part, like I said, everybody that I've talked to or heard about loves the house. They're like ecstatic about the house. The only issue, again, with the same agent, she's like, oh, the house next door and whatever. But we already knew that from going in. We knew it. I knew it. Melissa knew it. Y'all knew it. The neighborhood needs some work. The house next door on one side is vacant. The other house on the other side is also vacant. But one of those houses is like badly vacant. So that's kind of where we're at right now as far as the house goes. But I think the feedback has been good. It's only been up for less than a week. Yeah, it's enough for less than a week, and it has 600 views already. So I'm happy. Now, who was it? My shout out to my guy Rico Paul, or otherwise known as Sterling Paul. He had asked yesterday, or maybe today, how we feel about the lien on the house, or if somebody puts a lien on the house. And this is what I told him. Right, my thing is this. At this point, I really don't care. Honestly, I just want the house to be sold, and whatever that comes with, however we can sell the house, we can sell the house, because I am ready to go all in on the candles. I'm ready to put these Turo videos out for YouTube. I'm ready to just move on to our next life and just kind of like keep progressing and moving forward. The house thing is old news at this point to me, and I think it's very interesting because the house was such a big part of our life. It engulfed every single part of our life, and we went through a lot to get it finished. But now that it's done, it's kind of like, yeah, something that just happened. Like, it just, yeah, I know. Like, if I was to explain a story to somebody else, they would probably like, yo, that shit was crazy. I went through this, and yeah, how long it took, 1.5 years, and this and that. And I'm like, yeah, it was really annoying. But now that I'm looking at something else, it seems like less of an issue to me. So I just kind of go whatever. But if we get any money from the house that we get to keep in our pocket, that's a plus. If we don't, then it's a plus because we got rid of the house. So that's kind of my perspective on it right now. And I just want it to be gone, because we're going to have another monthly payment of interest next month. And then, what, this is September? So we're gonna have another one in August. Another one in September. And then another one in October. But the one in October is the month that the insurance ends. So how it works is, if we don't renew our insurance, then they will pretty much take back the house, because they don't want the liability of something happening to the house without us having insurance on it. So until then, or until the house is sold, we'll have to make monthly interest payments right now of about $1,500. So, you know, right now it's kind of covered by YouTube, so that's kind of good. And I'm about to work on these videos. But as far as the house goes, I think that's pretty much it. Anything else you could think about with the house?
No.
So yeah, that's behind us. So last week I also started working on the Turo videos. Now I did 3, and I think it was not last week, but the week before. I know we had that conversation about which one do we do, the YouTube, or should we do the candles? If we do, because I'm trying to figure it out, because some of the ideas that we had were put out, was it 1 video a week for a year? That was one idea. Put out 1 video a week for a year. Another option was to go full head into it, just like try and put out 10 videos or make 10 videos a week. I'm like, that's going to be really hard to do, just with time, and obviously with things ramping up with the candles, it's going to be hard to put out that many videos consistently. And we also had an idea of like, maybe I'll just edit the videos that are the most popular in terms of city. But for me, I wanted to make all the videos that I promised people to make. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get all those videos out. And I don't think it hurts us to have more videos, especially for different markets, because people will be exposed to us in different cities. So that is always good. And for those who don't know, I mean, most of y'all probably came from Turo. So the videos I'm going to put out are videos on how to research your city for Turo. And I have about 52 videos of that. So I'm decided I'm going to do 3 a week, probably starting next week. I haven't really figured out the layout or like how I'm going to distribute them or whatever, like what day, what time, how many, and stuff like that, which ones. But I have already filmed and edited 1. I filmed 2 yesterday, but I think I could definitely put out 3 a week. And if I put out 3 a week, I should be done 4 months, right? So we're looking at probably somewhere in January. Now that is if everything goes perfectly well. I don't think that's going to happen for multiple reasons. One of those reasons being that if the house gets sold and the candles do better, we'll have to put more energy into the candles. So I probably won't be able to record as much, especially for something like having the craft fair on the weekends. This weekend we have a craft fair coming up, and I know after the craft fair I'm always tired on Monday. So right now, or yesterday, I recorded all of the videos, or 2 of the videos, on Monday. How my schedule right now would be Tuesday the podcast, Wednesday I edit it, then I have Thursday and Friday to kind of do whatever, and then the craft fair will be on the weekends. So now it seems like Thursday and Friday would be when I record and edit the 3 videos for Turo, right? That is not including if Melissa and I decide to do the craft fair that is all week long. It's 7 days a week. So if we do that, that automatically cuts out 3 videos. And I wanted to do 4 of those because if the numbers work out the way we see them working out, each craft fair that we do for like a week-long craft fair, but do we make $10,000? I think we gross like $11,000 if we do the whole craft fair. Let me just double check that. So we would make about $15,000 in a week. So it's like I said, give or take $3,000 to $5,000.
What happened?
Yeah.
If we do Chelsea?
Yeah. That's what we would gross. Right.
And that's when we take home like 6?
Right. So if we do, and here's how I got to that number. Our biggest candle is $40, the full size, and then the sample size is $15. I took the average of the 2, which would be 40 plus 15 divided by 2 is 27.5. I think we could sell about 80 candles. That's the number I gave us because it's such a busier market, and we're about to hit the holiday season, so it's going to be so much candles to sell. And they're raising the price to do the weekly market because it's going to be so much foot traffic. You have tourists, you have holidays, you have people trying to buy gifts. So if we're doing the average of 27 candles, $27, honestly, I think a better metric would be I was gonna say a better metric would be if we did how many transactions we think we would do, and then do it by how much our average cost of transaction is, which is like $23, right?
It's like 25.
So right, so that's I'm like, yeah. So my numbers are pretty. It's gonna be between $11,000 and $16,000, somewhere in that range that we would gross each week, probably between 12 and 16. So we would take home about 40% of that, maybe 50% of that. So if we did it for a week, we would make, maybe let's just have number 15, that's what we said earlier. We would make 15, and then we would keep about $7,000 profit in our pocket at the end of the week. And it's like, that's a crazy amount of money. That means that if we do the craft fair for a whole month, that month we would grow $60K roughly. And I'm like, that's insane. Like, that's an insane, the mind fuck of that is so crazy that if we could, right now we are super broke, and in 1 month we could possibly make $60K in a month. Now the problem with that is this: because we have a product business, we have to buy the inventory. So to do a craft fair for a whole week, we would have to spend like $5,000 or $6,000 plus the fee to actually get in, which is about $1,500. So that right there, we have to come up with that money off top. So we're going to do the craft fairs that we're doing now to be able to get into that. But the reason I brought that up is because if we're doing that, right? If I don't know how y'all could come to me and say, Donovan, you should make Turo videos when we're making $60K a month off candles. I don't even know how y'all could justify that. I would love to see y'all try, but I don't know how y'all could. If we make $30K in a month off the candles, and you telling me I should make a Turo video that's going to get 2,000 views, it's going to make $17. I'm like, bruh, I don't know. But the channel does need videos. Like, we're going to put videos out. It's just at this point, because we're pivoting our life, we always want our content to match what our life is doing. So we would have to be making candle videos, and then we're also backlogged on all the house videos. So I have 52 Turo videos to put up. We have the house videos, which are probably we did 15 episodes.
Yeah, probably.
So 14 to 15 episodes of that. So that's already at 65. Then we'll be doing the candles. Then we'll probably do the podcast every week. Then we'll probably I forgot about the podcast. How we gonna do it? Damn, that's crazy. Damn, how we gonna do a podcast during that time period? That's crazy.
We do the weekly.
Yeah.
You have to do it again.
Oh, you do it in the morning.
Or we can have somebody else work that day.
Yeah, come like we have somebody else work, or we could do both. We got do it in the morning, have somebody work during that time period, and then we just come later. I like that. I like that idea. So yeah, like I said, and I think, listen, it's we just came from being so broke, and we're still broke.
Right. I'm like, what you mean?
Right. Because I'm like, bruh. We are so. What is the thing? This is what I hate about a lot of like rich people or poor, whatever you want to call them. Right? They always say like, "Oh, I was mad broke." I remember like I listened to this podcast the other day, and this dude, he's a wholesaler. He said he made an app or a software that like helps you find buyers, and I guess the company's worth $100 million, something like that, right? And he's always he said in the podcast, yeah, man, I was broke. My account was negative 5,000, and then in 12 months I got to $100 million. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. So then I hear a story, and the story is like, I was waiting on the loan approval for $25 million, and in that time period, my account went to negative 5,000. So I had to borrow money from my friend who gave me $40K just to live off of. I'm like, bro, you wasn't really broke. Like, to me, broke is you have no money and you have no way of making money. Like, that to me is broke. And I feel like something similar to Alex too, where it was like, he has said a lot of times that he went from rich to broke and rich to broke. He lost all his money multiple times. And in my opinion, losing all your money multiple times, if you make $100K the next month, to me, you're not in the same boat as people who are like, have no way of getting to the bag. Like, there's two different scenarios. Like, if I go to a person right now who works at McDonald's and say, okay, you're fired, and I take your money away, and you're negative 10,000. You to get a $10,000 is way harder than if you already have a business that makes $10,000 a week, and then your business it shuts down for a month or something like that. Like, it's not the same. But the reason I say that is because right now where we are at the point where we have a way of making money. We just haven't made the money yet. Before, it was just kind of like, bruh, how are we gonna make money? Like, we don't even have no way of, we have this house, it's supposed to be flipped. Every month that goes by, we're losing more money from paying off the interest loans. We're losing money from the renovation price going up. We're losing money from interest, just all over the place. There's money coming out, and we don't have a way to go, okay, once the house is sold, what is the way that we would make money to pay off the money that we owe? Whether at this point we owe money to rent, we owe money to the negative bank accounts that we have. They closed 3 of my accounts at this point. Melissa has student loans, we might get paid off. We have the car note. We got the MCA loans. We got credit card loans. We got a lot of different loans that we have to pay back, right? Easy Pass is probably in the tens of thousands of dollars. We got tickets. We got insurance. We have mad things to pay for, right? So before, we was like, we don't even know how we're going to pay for this. Even if we sell a house, we won't have enough money to pay for these things. And we can't flip another house because the money that we'll make won't be enough to buy another house. So what are we going to do? That was 2 or 3 months ago. So now when I say we're broke, it's a different kind of broke. Trust me, it's definitely different where it's like, okay, we just have to get to the point of selling these candles and we'll have enough money. And now we have crossed over into this point to where it's like, it's a different kind of broke. There's different levels of broke. For sure, trust me. We experienced all of them. We experienced broke with no debt. We experienced broke with debt. Right now we're in broke with a way to make money. We just have been all the types of broke you could think of. We've been eating bread. My favorite delicacy, okay, my favorite pastime to eat and my delicacy of choice is you get a nice toaster. Okay, you get two pieces of bread. All right. Now you take those 2 pieces of bread, slide them gently in between the toaster, right? Real slow like. Then you push the little lever down, you wait about 2 or 3 minutes, and then it pop, right? Then now listen. I think this is toast. It's not toast, okay? This is called hood French toast. So what you do is you get your knife, and then you slather some butter on that joint, okay? Now it's not done yet. It's not done. Then here's what you do. You take syrup, put the syrup on the plate, dip your butter and toast in the syrup, and now you got French toast. I'm just saying, that's my delicacy of choice. Now, you may call it being broke. I don't know. Maybe you get to eat real French toast. But we was struggling and still technically are struggling. So that is the foods that we have been eating. What would you be eating? You be eating what? What's your go-to?
I be eating the 25-cent ramen.
Oh, the ramen noodles.
I eat the ramen, but you know, I like to throw some boiled eggs.
Ooh.
Eggs,
Ooh.
and I eat the ramen. And then we went to BJ's and we got a big ass box of waffles, and we've been eating
Right.
the waffles.
Just put the waffles in the toaster, put some syrup on them, cut them up, and you good to go.
Yeah.
That's a snack. That's dinner. That's lunch. You just gotta eat it and some water. We do splurge on this though. Fiji water is expensive, and this is the last bougie part of us right now, where it's like, listen.
Yeah, and I definitely do still cook like meals like chicken and stuff like that. It just depends on the workload as well in terms of making the candles and stuff.
Yeah, and the reason why we drink Fiji water is because we come from. Listen. A lot of y'all new. Y'all here in 2022. All right. Some of y'all, I checked the other day. I think the only person that has been here since last year, not from the beginning, since last year that I've seen or that I know about, and I know listen to the podcast for sure, is Frederick from, I think he's in Cali, right? He was here around, I believe he was here around, what was that shit called? Around like the wholesale time, but like in the beginning of it, right? But before that, okay, we have different sagas of the Bamboo Project. Before that, we were on the Alkaline electric food diet. So in that process, we learned so much about food, water, juice, coconut water, sea moss gel, what's the other one? Burdock root, Brazil nut milk made from scratch. So many different things, right? So the last thing that we held on to was the Fiji water because it was probably the only water that we could afford that was healthy. Just for y'all, a little side note, Essentia is not what you think it is, all right? For everybody out there who thinks it is, it's not. And coconut water, if it's not pink, don't trust it. A lot of coconut water that people drink, they think it's healthy for them, and it's not. That's a different story. If you want to hear about that, we have podcasts from 2 years ago. But that's why we still have Fiji water. So we try to put money aside to that, but we don't drink it often. That we could drink more of it every day, but then we would have none to drink. So we kind of like, you know, on the edge of that. But either way, so that is how we look at the future of the channel. Is like, what are we going to do next? And I was talking to Melissa about this earlier today. Is on the channel right now we have a video called What is the Bamboo Project, and that video was shot maybe 2 years ago now, maybe 3 years ago, and it's coming up on a time for us to make the new one. And I think when we finally move into our nice apartment, we will make the second one of it, because yeah, I think that's when we'll make the second, like part 2, What is the Bamboo Project part 2. And we'll have like a little, it'll be fun, but I want it to be when we move to our nice apartment, because this house that we're in right now is only supposed to be as they call the projects, where you stay. It's transitory housing. We stay here for a little bit, figure out what we're going to do, and then boom, go to the next thing. It just so happened to take longer than we planned, and it happened during COVID, and it happened through a lot of different things happened there. But we thought we would have been rich. Like, we moved in here 2019. We thought by like end of 2020, like, yeah, we're gonna be rich, right? 2020, we still not rich. 2021, we still not rich. 2022, we still kind of broke, but we are on the trajectory going up. So but listen, hey, that is the Bamboo Project. That's what it's for. Everybody who's not here, who's gonna come in the next 12 months and be like, oh my god, who are these people? They're everywhere. How y'all are so famous and rich and successful. How y'all get here? Is this we got overnight? We're like, yep. It took us 3 years, 4 years overnight, just working and going through all the nonsense that we went through over the last couple of years. But I digress. Back to the candles. So we want to go and do the craft fair every single week for the whole week, and we want to start hiring employees. And what we want to do is figure out what we do at the craft fair as far as the one in Chelsea in terms of our numbers, and then hire somebody there. What I want to do is I want to have somebody come there with us. They work it because it's going to be very busy, and then they train there, and then when we think we're good with them training, they will then go to the another market where it's like it's not as much foot traffic, and they can still perform because they've learned from us how to actually, you know, sell at the craft fair. So, and then like I said, so the company's about to be, so it's growing, and I just want the house to be, I don't care about the house no more. I just want the house to be done. I don't care. Just take the house. I don't care. As long as I want everybody to get paid back, and then next thing.
So far, I finished 2 out of 7 of my courses for UX design. I know I said I wanted to get it done in 2 weeks. But what I meant by that, not 2 weeks consecutive, not 14 consecutive days, but just 14 days of work in general. It don't have to be consecutive. However, I still haven't done that. But yeah, I'm currently on my 3rd course out of 7 for my UX design. I'm kind of on the fence about finishing it because of the way. Okay, because the way that I saw it, right? I'm gonna do the UX design course so that, I can then get a job in UX design and use that job to supplement our income while we're waiting for the house to be sold. So if you look at that framework as to what I'm doing, and look at how the candles are going, I don't really have to get a job no more.
It's true. Bro, can you imagine this weekend? Because, okay, there's another thing, too. This weekend's going to be Labor Day weekend. So we're bringing more candles than we have ever brought to any craft fair to this weekend. So the funny thing about that is there would be more foot traffic than normal because it's Labor Day. That's our assumption. And we're also bringing more candles. So we may bring more candles than we've ever brought and still not have enough because we don't know what to expect for Labor Day at this place.
Yeah, it's very possible. And one thing that, Donovan and I have spoken about, I don't know if we said on the podcast, but this whole time that we've been selling candles, we started doing the craft fairs in January of this year. So from January till now, we still have not experienced candles in peak season. We are approaching peak season now. Approaching it. We're not there yet. And the reason why I say that is, as you saw from, I think, the last podcast title, we made $1,200 in a day. In one day selling candles. The thing about that, I think the first time we sold candles, we made $900 in a weekend. That was the first time.
Yeah, which was crazy to us.
Yes.
We was like, oh my God, this is insane.
In January is not holiday time.
I think it's the worst time.
Bruh, maybe February might be a bit better because of Valentine's Day.
Right. So I think January, beginning of the year is like the worst time.
There's nothing. It's cold. It's rainy. I think it's after all the major holidays, so people went home. Everyone's home already. Like I said, the only upside might be February, and then after that, there's nothing. There's no other holidays that really people are buying gifts for other people like that for. So okay, we passed through that winter season. You get to spring, now we're in summer. Summer, we're doing better because there's more foot traffic. But that is still not peak candle season. Candles typically don't do as well. Bruh, I don't think y'all understand. I did a lot of research looking at the candles and stuff, so I'm in like candle Facebook groups and all that stuff. In the Facebook groups. Hi everybody. I'm in the seat. What was I saying? In the Facebook groups that I joined, they talk about how candle season, like how people's sales slow down a lot in the summertime because people don't burn as much candles in the summertime. It's hot. They're either not out. They're not inside as much, or it's hot, so they don't want to add that heat to the house. Burning candles. And we are doing these numbers in the summertime. And that's just with foot traffic. We live in New York City. So y'all already know. Everyone comes to New York for the holidays. They come for the Macy's Day Parade, the Thanksgiving Day Parade, the Halloween Parade. There's the Christmas, the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree. This is a tourist attraction, one of the biggest. So, and I keep saying, it's just so mind-boggling to me because I don't know if y'all understand how much people that is. That is a lot of people. It's a lot. It's a lot of people. So I don't even know how much and it's, oh my God, I'm sorry every time I think about it, because not only is it a lot of people, it's a lot of people looking for gifts for other people. To me, with that's like almost every person being like a wholesale transaction where they're buying 4, 5, 6 candles at a time. And we've already experienced something similar to that in the last craft fair, where people are now, they're saying to us, we're looking for a gift for somebody else. So now we have to kind of get into that mind frame of, okay, oh, what is this person like? What is that person like? Oh, this is our bestseller. Generally, people love this smell. Oh, this is a fall scent. Like, oh, it's just so much. It's just so much potential that comes with the candles. It's so easy for us to get excited about it because we are not operating nowhere near the highest potential for the candles. Nowhere near the highest potential. Like the display is good because we put in the work into it, and visually it's very appealing. It feels good. It feels nice when you see it. But there is so much more that can be done. It's not an actual setup, if that makes sense. So that could be improved. The candles itself, the materials itself, for like the labels or for like just different little things can be improved. Oh God, it's so easily, and I feel like the improvements could just add so much to the brand. It would just raise the value of the candles. But I'm getting very excited. Yeah, the potential for the candles at Chelsea, selling 7 days a week, doing the weekends at Williamsburg, even going to Grand Bazaar on Sundays is insane. It's insane potential. And you guys already know that we want to move to Georgia. That is still on the itinerary, is still on the roster because I need my own space. Donovan needs his own space. The cats need their own space. Like this house, like this house has done everything it could do, and it's time for us to go somewhere else. We have outgrown this area. We have outgrown this house. So one thing that's been on my mind is like kind of like, I do not think that the candles will do as well in Georgia. And I'm going to say that flat out. Reason why I think that, the Artisan Fleas location that they have in Georgia, I found out is outside. That's kind of a little red flag to me. And because if it was, I feel like if it was making more money, it would be able to be in an indoors location and more stable. They also don't do it year round. They only do it in the summertime because they're outside. Grand Bazaar is a bit different up here in New York, where it's outside, but it's year round. And they just added an indoor. Part of that too. I have to double check on my application for that. But yeah, I don't think that the candles will sell as well in Georgia because I'm not sure about how much foot traffic Georgia has, and also how like I said, with their Artisan Fleece setup, I'm not really too fond of that. But we're still gonna try and see what happens. But I feel like it'll be hard for us to pull the same numbers that we pull in New York. So with that being said, I definitely want to prioritize making sure that we're able to operate in New York even while we're in Atlanta. And that's why we're talking about hiring. That's why we're talking about, I'm thinking about getting a little WeWork or some type of storage facility to or having an office to make the candles in and have it here. Maybe we come once a month to make all the candles and then we head back to Georgia. Like, we just still have to figure all that stuff out. But I think Mr. Gray is back. Huh? I ended up talking about kind of like Georgia and how I don't think that the candles do well there. So for me personally, I think that our best bet would be to
stay here.
Figure out how to operate the candles here.
If we're doing $60K a month,
we going back and forth.
I'm like 60K times 12 is $720K.
Because I'm like, I don't know if I have to mail it up here. I don't know what I got, but we gonna be in Georgia. Something we was talking about too is figuring out how we would do it. Like, you told them about that, like the WeWork and stuff. A little bit. I just touched on it.
Yeah. So like I said, it's in the beginning works. We're in the beginning works of what is to come. And like I said, I'm just excited. But we'll keep it updated. Obviously, what happens with the candles. But as far as life update, I think that's pretty much it. Now, I had some, topics of the day I want to touch on, right? Now, one of the topics, it's about me. It's something I kind of realized, and I'm pretty sure other people have experienced this or seen this. I would lose all of my money right before I take a bigger jump to the next step, right? And it's a trend I noticed. So I remember when we first started doing the house, I remember asking myself, I never said anything to Melissa, I just kind of was talking to myself about it, and I was like, the goal of this house is to take us to the next level, to make us rich, right? To get us over this hump of being broke and having no money and worrying about bills and things like that. And I'm like, okay, this is how we're going to get over the hump. And I'm like, wouldn't it be crazy if somehow the house took everything from us? I remember thinking that, like, and I thought, all right, you know what we're going to see? I'm like, I think I'll take the odds, and I think that we have a way of coming out on top of this without losing everything. I was wrong. So we lost everything, pretty much. Mostly everything, financially at least. And I noticed this trend within my life all the time, like for at least about 10 years now. Right before I get to the next stage of something, my account goes to zero. Everything just goes bad. But then the next couple of months, I go even crazier than I was before. And I was wondering, why do I think that keeps happening to me? Because I kind of looked at it as like a negative. Like these big spikes are going up and down. Like people talk about how you should want to kind of just gradually increase as opposed to going up and down like that. It's like a risky way of just living life, of just having these highs and lows like that, right? And I could not figure out what it was. And I'm like, is it because I am willing to take risk that I end up losing, and that's why? Should I take less risk and stay more in the middle? So the more I thought about it, the conclusion that I came up with was the reason that my life goes from highs to lows like that is because I am willing to lose everything I have to obtain what I want to get. And that's what I've realized. So with the house, right? At any point in the house, I could say, you know what? I could just wipe my hands with it and be like, I'm done. I don't want to do this no more. We've put too much into it. I give up. I'm done. I don't want to do this no more. And we could have saved a lot of money. We could have had some money in our account still. We could have had our credit still in check. We could have still had credit on our card. We could have still had, different things set up. But I'm like, no. My goal is to get the house sold, finished, renovated, and sold. And I'm going to do everything I can in my power to get that done, whether having to be talk to my contractor in the middle of the night, whether it be having to get a ring to prevent robberies, whether it have to be going to Philadelphia, putting up a fence ourselves, whatever it takes. I'm like, I am going to make sure this house gets sold, and that is the main priority. So because it's the main priority, everything else comes behind that. So bank accounts, eating, sex life, relationship, everything comes behind that. So everything becomes affected by that. And like I said, I didn't know why that was happening before until I actually sat down and think about it. Now, I don't know if that will continue to happen the more I grow, because I feel like that could be problematic if I get to a point where I'm worth $1 billion and then lose the $1 billion. But then all that means is I'm going to be worth $10 billion afterwards. So I don't really know how bad it is. My only thing is that I want to be able to, if I lose everything more or less, that at least that my foundation is enough to survive on. Where it's like, okay, if I'm worth, that I want to have a place where, if similar to Elon Musk was like, okay, I don't mind going broke as long as I can still afford to eat and have somewhere to live. Like, other than that, I'm fine, because I know that the only reason I'm sacrificing everything I have is to get to the next level of whatever it is I'm trying to get to. And look where we're at now. So I feel like maybe it works. I think as someone who's a part of it, like Melissa, you have to ask her, how does she feel about that type of lifestyle of like losing everything to possibly make $60K in a month? How do you feel about that?
How do I feel about that?
Mm-hmm.
Would I choose to be here? No. No, I want to be here for a long period of time. No. Mm-hmm. I don't particularly like it. It's doable. You're not dead.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how I feel about that. I didn't die.
Right. That's right.
I think a lot of character building. I think it builds character.
Yeah, and I think there are people, I don't really know of them, that just do well all the time, or maybe they have less falls. But I do know the most successful people, other than maybe Warren Buffett, because he's very, 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 very risk adverse. usually have these highs and lows. And I'm using Elon Musk as my person I'm thinking about, but most people usually have that. And honestly, Warren Buffett did have it. The funny thing about Warren Buffett, which I think that anybody with kids should understand this, or even myself, everybody has a time period where they learn something and become rich off of it. And I think if you look at any real successful person, they started young at a thing. Whatever, I don't know. The thing is usually something. So with Beyonce, it's like, oh, I was dancing and singing since I was 3 years old. It's like, oh, of course you'll be better than everybody else at 15 because no one else has been dancing for that long. No one has been training for that long. Look at Elon Musk. If I built a company that's worth 20 million at 17, and it's not hard to get to one that's worth 400 million by 27. Like, it's not that much harder because I've already had a head start. And Warren Buffett, all of his downs were like, he made them when he was 7. He was investing when he was like 12 or whatever the age was. He was losing money, not losing it, but like not making the best decision with his money. And it's like he might have had those highs and lows just before he became what everybody knows he is now. So that's something I always think about too, was like, it's all a part of the story. And the story looks a lot better when you win. And if you lose, then it's like, oh, that doesn't work.
I think the only way that you lose is if you give up.
Right. That's how I feel the same way. And I remember the first time I ever had that thought, I don't know where, it was a couple of years ago, maybe even like, hey, I don't know how many years ago. It was probably before I met you. And I remember just being like, if you continue to do something for your whole life, how do you fail at it?
It's funny. I think you fail at it if you are not. It's funny. I watched a video, and I think that I really liked how he explained it. I think you were there when I was watching it. He was talking about the 1,000 hours, and he was saying you need more than just 1,000 hours.
I think so.
Something. So one of the things that he said was pretty much being introspective and not just doing the thing with no, like, you need to have parameters for whatever it is that you're doing. So you could cook every single day, but you won't get past a certain point if you're not practicing technical skills, or like if there's no way for you to measure your performance. You have to measure your performance and try to do better than your performance. You have to actively try to improve what you're doing as opposed to just doing it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, my thing is with that, I was talking to somebody, might have been one of my friends, about music, and I was just like, I don't think you could be like one of those 50-year-old rappers that was like, oh bro, it could have been me, I could have been that person. I feel like that only happens if you stop doing it, or that's really it. I can't see somebody working on music from 17 to 50 and not being good at it.
Like I said, I think you have to improve on it. So how
do you not improve? That's my thing.
How do you not improve? You don't try anything new. So an example, right? Mm-hmm. Think about for how long I've been, how long me personally have been like recording me singing and posting it. It's on SoundCloud. It's been probably a couple years. Let's say I started when we moved into the house. I've been using GarageBand, recording myself and singing and posting it, and that's it, right? Time after time again, I sing, I post it. Now I'm learning, oh wait, if I do this compression and this, do noise gain and blah blah blah, it makes it sound completely different. The whole time I thought it was me that was the problem, but I didn't know how to use the software properly. Right. That's improving. You get what I'm saying?
But my thing is, you have to improve. Like, you can't not improve if you keep doing the thing. That's what I'm saying.
But that's the thing. It's because I wanted to do. It's because I heard somebody else that I was like, wait, how you get that result from this? And I've been using this and I don't have that result. Now I have to look into mixing and mastering and learning what that does. But if I don't take the time to learn about mixing and mastering, I just think, oh well, I'm just a singer, I'm gonna just sing and record myself, I'm not gonna improve.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think anybody, and I use that word kind of loosely, but I don't think anybody can work on something and not want to get better at it. And I think it happens just by working on the thing. So if you decide today you want to learn how to play basketball, right? You would go and shoot a basketball. And if you kept shooting a basketball, you would get better. And then you might go, can I dribble this ball too? Let me try doing that. Are you going to be Kyrie Irving or LeBron James? Probably not.
I think I would.
Sure, you could be them. But if you aren't, you would still be really good at basketball if you decided for the next 15 years you was going, because people who play basketball don't play basketball for 15 years. So if you decide I'm gonna dribble every day, I'm gonna shoot the ball every day, I'm gonna just do that every day, you'll be better than a lot of people that play basketball.
But that's the thing. Some people, but I understand what you're saying, right? But
I think if you do anything long enough, you become good at it. That's my assumption. I don't think you cannot. And another reason is because
I don't think so.
Here's the other reason I say that. The other reason is you come in contact, or the person comes in contact with life, and life will change you from whatever it is that you're doing. But why do you say you don't think so?
I don't think so because I don't think that. I think in order to get better, you have to look at what you're doing from the lens of improving yourself.
But how do you, if you were to go and do something, right? Give me an example of somebody not trying to prove themselves through a lens. What does that look like?
I'm just shooting the ball around at the park.
Okay, is it going in?
Yeah, it went in a couple times.
All right, so you missed a couple times.
Yeah.
So you want to make those times. So you want to improve that.
Yeah, I want to improve that, but me thinking that, because you also then have to learn how to improve it.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think that you cannot. If you are trying to shoot a ball in the basket and you are making 2 out of 10 times, and you're going to every day, like, I can only make 2 every single time. You're either gonna look up how to make more shots, or you gonna ask somebody, or you're gonna say, okay, what am I doing these 2 shots that I made that I'm not doing the other 8? That is just natural. You're like, it's the result that I want is not happening. Why is it not happening?
Yes, but I also think that you have to. I think there's only so far you can get doing it on your own.
Sure, but that's what I'm saying. Is part of it is the more you do it, they're gonna be like. Cause now here's another thing too. If I have a friend, his name was Rain, right? He's just shooting a park. You know, Rain. He's just shooting a park all the time by himself. If somebody comes by the park and sees you shooting every day, they're gonna say, "Hey, man, I noticed you've been here every single day shooting basketball. Do you want some help with anything? Do you need anything? You want to help me rebound for you? You want me to tell you somebody I know that plays basketball? Somebody you at the park playing basketball, they're gonna pick you up to play. Oh snap, she could play basketball. She could shoot. She can't really dribble, but she could shoot. Okay. So now people will just come to you if you continue doing the thing. If you just continue doing the thing over and over again. And I'm like, imagine what I just said. You're doing that for 15 years. So from 15 years old to 30 years old, you're just going to the park and shooting around, playing with people in the park. You're going to get better at basketball. Like it's undoubtedly that I cannot see a situation unless you say, you know what, I no longer want to play basketball. Or like I said, it was singing. I know if you decided I never want to sing again, then you would not get better at it. But like you're saying, if you're singing now, you're like, damn, I'm not hitting this note I want to hit. Why am I not hitting it? You're gonna go, why am I not hitting this? How do I hit it? How do I find out how to hit it? You're either gonna go on Google, you're gonna ask a friend, you're gonna try to imitate it, you're gonna go get a teacher, you're gonna do something to figure it out until you hit the note that you want to hit. Or keep doing it yourself until you figure it out. Okay, it's not working. So like I said, it's a theory that I have where it's like, if you just do it long enough, you'll be good at it. Will you be the best? I don't think so, because I feel like that comes more into like, you know, like how much access you have to training, how much higher level you're doing at training, at what age, how long you're doing higher level training, for how long of a time, what resources do you have, what kind of natural ability to sing or play basketball or be tall, whatever the case might be that you already have. That comes into play. But I can't see a person who just does a thing all the time and be bad. Like I can't. The only people that I feel like that do that, not do that, but like older people, they're like, man, I could have been this. Like, you weren't really trying. Like, you weren't really trying. You sang or you played basketball a couple times, and now you're 50 and you're like, man, you know, I could have been in the NBA. It's like, maybe.
You really think so? I feel like it's true. I feel like what you're saying is true. That kind of sucks if it's true then.
Why?
Because then I think about old people that's not where they want to be.
They just didn't do it long enough. And that's what I'm saying. It's like,
like,
bro, cause
that's the answer.
This is what I've realized. If you look at any person that is really successful at what they do, they have been doing it for a long time. Like, and that's for me specifically. I use basketball as an example. I used to say it all the time to kids. No, not kids, but when I go to probably listen. I've been playing basketball for 20 years now. And it's like, when I hit 26, 25, 26, it's true. I've been playing basketball for 20 years. I've been playing on teams, reading about basketball, practicing and training for 20 years. That's longer than you've been alive. It's going to be hard for you to be better than me if I've been playing basketball for 20 years. Watching the game, playing it, studying it, being in tournaments, being on AAU teams, traveling, listening to coaches, listening to other people who play basketball, going to watch NBA games. I have all these things. I don't have to be great. It's going to be hard for you to be better than me if you only been playing basketball for 5 years. Or even 7 years. Even half my time. 10 years. From 15 to 25.
I don't know. I think it depends on what they're doing.
But it's true. It does depend on what they're doing. But what I'm saying is, from the perspective of, if you are training at a higher level than me for a longer period of time, then yes. But if you are going to do regular stuff for 10 years, it's unlikely that you'll be better than me if I'm doing it for 20. You would have to have been being trained at a certain thing. And even then, I think about it like, it's still 10 more years than you have been doing this thing. So what I was saying before, for me, is basketball, and then with business to some degree, where it's like, if I've been trying to sell candles and I think I was talking to you about this, going door to door, getting, what was I doing before? I used to go with my friend to door to shovel people's driveways when I was like 7 or 8 years old, up to like 11. So if you take that into account, and I've been trying to do that for 10 years, am I good at it now, or have I been doing it for 10 years? The other topic for the day I want to talk about, there's two of them. One is Mr.Beast. That's going to be the first one. If y'all are not familiar with who Mr.Beast is, he is a 24 or 25-year-old YouTuber who has 100 million subscribers, which again is a crazy ass. That number is insane. But he has 100 million subscribers on YouTube on one channel. He has other channels with tens of millions of subscribers. I think he makes like over 50, 60 million a year from YouTube and other things. And there was a video that came out recently from Corey Kenshin where he talked about the YouTube being racist, right? And I was just kind of like, that is an interesting thing. Just hearing him talk about it, a lot of other people kind of talked about it, a lot of videos came out. And his thing was that whenever he comes back to YouTube and starts trending, his channels get throttled, where they don't really show him as much to people. They will also have it where once he starts trending, they will bring up old videos and say, oh, we're flagging this video, so now that's why we're gonna like slow down your channel growth in terms of how many views you're getting on that particular video. And I never thought about this before, because Mr.Beast is so addicted and so headstrong on YouTube that in my mind it was just kind of like, well, he's working very hard at this, of course he's going to be successful. Caveat, he also been doing this since he was 10, so he's been doing it sun up to sundown for years, trying to get successful on YouTube. Honestly, I think he was doing this before he was 10. So are we surprised that he's good at 14 or at 14 years? Like, think about how crazy he's been doing YouTube for 14 years. That's insane. So I was thinking about it and I was like, so is it possible for social medias to be racist? Right? And I'm like, yes and no. Because I don't think that YouTube is racist, right? I think that they hire racist people. And when I was going through this process, I was like, or this thought process, I was thinking that I know a lot of people like to say, and this is anybody that says this to me, I just assume it's racist. If they go, well, you can't prove the racism, so, if I could see it, I would stop it. And it's like, sure. But unless somebody is, as Corey Kenshin said, spamming the N-word, then you're not really going to see the racism. But when they have those two videos in front of them and they have to choose which one gets demonetized, and they just go, you know what, I'm going to just click the one with the black guy on it. I'm going to just demonetize that one and leave the other one up, right? That's how racism comes up. And I feel like it's very odd to me about Mr.Beast and obviously about PewDiePie, right? Now, I think something that I find interesting about this is I never considered that Mr. Beast's growth, not really, that Mr. Beast growth was because he was white. Now, what I mean by that is I definitely think that he's more palatable because he's white to people who watch him, but I never thought about the behind the scenes in terms of they probably don't throttle his content as much. So he's given the runway to grow to 100 million, right? And this Corey Kenshin guy, everybody talks about him now. He's like super duper ad friendly, like ridiculously ad friendly. He bleeps out words from video games that he plays. He doesn't curse at all in any of his videos, has no controversial points that he talks about in any of his content. But they decided that they wanted to, demonetize, or they call it age restricting his video, which means that they're not going to show it to many people. However, on somebody else's channel who had the same exact video, who was white and bigger than he is, they did nothing to that channel. They did not take it down. They did not flag it. They did not put age restriction on it. They did absolutely nothing to it. So I thought to myself, I wonder if Mr. Beast gets his channel throttled, right? Because I'm like, when I watch his content, me personally, it doesn't really do it for me. Like, I would say maybe Squid Games, but that's because it was such a large spectacle. I was like, wow, a person did this. This is crazy. But also, how many people are putting that much money into YouTube videos anyways? So is the content itself good, or does he just have a lot of money for the content? Like, he had videos from before where he would do something like, I'm going to say Logan Paul's name 100,000 times. He had another one where it was like, okay, I'm going to saw a table with a plastic knife. And it's like, is that good content? Even though people watch it, I don't know if that's good content. And I don't feel like his content to me is good content. It's just big content, if that makes sense. It's similar to, here's an example of it. Would you call a Fast and Furious movie a good movie? Because there's a lot of explosions, they have a huge budget, they have all the superstars in it, there's cars flying, there's people jumping off buildings. Is that a good movie? I don't think it's a good movie. And it made me think like, there are probably creators who are making better videos than Mr. Beast is, but their views or their impressions, if I don't know what that means the amount of times it gets shown to other people, it might not be pushed as much. Or let me not say that. It may not have the freedom to grow to where they think it should grow. There are people who I've heard talk about on their YouTube channel where their video is growing, it just falls off a cliff. Now, how does that happen? Somebody had to pull the plug on it. Now, here's an example of that, right? So for us, I had put up a video on Instagram like a couple days ago, right? And I don't post no reels because I personally think that they're silly. I might do it in the future at some point, but I just don't like posting reels. I just think I don't want to do it. Once they have a team, they'll probably do it, but I just don't like reels. But YouTube was like, oh, make a reel, post this one. And it was of the kittens, of Rockin' Sushi as kittens. It was of Rockin' Sushi as kittens running around doing kitten stuff. I'm like, oh, this is cute. I made me smile, made me laugh. I'm like, okay, cool. So I showed Melissa, we both kind of laughed about it. I clicked the make this a reel button. Bruh, it became a reel. I have never gotten so many views and likes on anything in my entire life at all, like in that amount of time. The video within maybe 2 or 3 hours had got, mind you, my Instagram has 200 at the time, less than 200 followers. The video got 12,000 views and 500 and something likes. Right now, let me rephrase that. It got 11,900 views and like 400 or 500 likes. I was like, yo, this is insane. As I'm watching it, I keep getting more likes and more likes and more likes, and the views are going. I'm like, this is crazy, right? And then that video, I'm gonna give y'all some context. All right. I posted that video. It doesn't show me the date, but I posted that video a couple of days ago, maybe like 2 or 3 days. In a couple of hours, I got 11,900 views. Since then, that video has only gone up 200 more views after several days. It has 579 comments, right? And I was just like, I know that's artificial. I know that's not real. Like, I know that nothing about that video warranted it getting that many views. And the only reason it got that many views, this is my assumption, is because Instagram is trying to push more reels. So they wanted me to post that video, get more views, and then go, oh wow, look how many views I got. Let me keep trying to post more of these reels to get more views. And then I'll keep chasing that big surge of views and likes I just got, right? And I'm like, all they had to do was put it in the algorithm. They don't have, in terms of the likes and stuff, they didn't have to boost my content, if you want to say that. I feel like all they had to do was just let my content be shown and not stop it. I think with Mr.Beast, they are doing the same thing. I think they are allowing his content to flourish because there are people behind the scenes who just like him. I don't think that it's because his content is as good as he thinks it is or says it is. Now, with that being said, I would love to meet him because I feel like he is like obsessed with YouTube, which is great. And I think that it plays a role into it. And I don't think that it's necessarily him that I'm talking about. It's more so of like, they are allowing you to do what you want to do, as opposed to someone else like, okay, hey, I'm making great videos. And they're like, yeah, I know, but we're not going to show it to everybody because we don't feel like everybody should see your video. And I don't think that is taken into account when it comes to Mr.Beast. So that was one thing about him. Now, the second thing I want to talk about or the last thing actually, was last week, Mark Zuckerberg did an interview with Joe Rogan. Okay. This to me is like monumental. Like, this was like, oh my God, Mark Zuckerberg is talking to people. Like, I think he did an interview with Lex Friedman, who I really do not like Lex Friedman's podcast. I feel like his ability to podcast, I don't even know how he got so big. I feel like it's his guess. I feel like I just don't like the way he interviews people. I feel like he doesn't really ask them the great questions. I feel like the ones he does ask are not, in my opinion, very thought-provoking. I don't know why that is, but that's just my opinion on it. But he has good hosts, so I kind of like the host that he has, or not the host, the guest. But back to the Mark Zuckerberg thing. So I wrote some notes from that podcast. If you haven't seen it, I honestly would not even say I recommend it like that personally. I would, yeah. It's just interesting. So number one, with Mark Zuckerberg, you can take this how you want to take it. I think he wants to win so bad, he does not care about the consequence. I don't think that it's personally evil or he's personally evil. I think he just wants everyone to be closer and connect. It's his life work. What else would he do? So from talking to him or watching the podcast and listening to him talk to Joe Rogan, there were certain times I felt like he was insulted by Joe Rogan asking certain questions. And he had that obsession where it's like, yes, I think this could possibly have detrimental effects down the line, but I love this thing so much. Do you want to take it away from me? Because I focus all of my time and energy and my entire life on it. And yes, it may be detrimental, but I could try and make it less detrimental, or I don't really see that. And honestly, in my opinion, I feel like he actually is just so focused on his goal that he doesn't care. I wouldn't even say care. He doesn't think about all of the negative effects it has on it. I think that the only reason he knows about the negative effects is because people always come to him and tell him like, hey, this is terrible, this is bad, this shouldn't work. In his mind, he is thinking solely on, I want to do this thing, I'm going to focus on that thing. Something else I find that was weird. He said he sees the world as two worlds, a digital world and a physical world. To me, that's an issue, because there is, in my opinion, there's only one. There is one world within the other. We had the real physical world. He kept calling it that. He was like, it's the physical. Like, to separate those two to me is very odd. That would be almost like saying that the Marvel universe is real. like because it's on TV. It's like, no, this is completely not real at all. Like nothing about this is real. Even if people watch it and make movies about it and make books about it and go out to concerts and go out to conventions, it's not real. But I think he really believes that these are two different worlds, and I think that comes from his focus on wanting to complete one goal. Now I know y'all might not know this person's name. His name is what's it? David Icke. And he talks about these people being like psychopaths, right? And I've never consciously ran into a psychopath, but I think that similar to like murderers, they are people that seem very regular. They're regular. They just view things differently. Like it's almost like if you said to them, hey, like it's like someone that's colorblind, right? If someone is colorblind and they don't see blue, you can't tell them that it's blue there. Like you can't make them believe if they go, I don't see blue there. I know you're saying it's blue, but I only see green. That to me is how I think Mark Zuckerberg works, where he is like so focused on this thing. He's like, it's a world. I'm making it into a world. It's different from the digital world. From the physical world. It's a different place. And it's like, bro, it's really not. But like I said, I just don't think that he sees that. And then Joe Rogan asked him about his kids and how it affects them. I think his kids are too young for him to see negative effects by it. And I think once his kids grow up, he will start to realize the negative effects of it. And because it's so close to home, I think then he may decide to change his outlook and approach to it. I think when he is trying to grow or hang out with his kids and they're stuck on social media and addicted to this and don't come out of that, I think that's when he'll realize that, oh wow, okay, now I see what I'm doing. That's what I think. Another thing, number 4, I have 7 things. This is the 4th one. The fact that he is where he's at is not surprising to me, because he said his parents forced him to play 3 varsity sports as a kid, and he ran a lot. Those kind of things, he has a competitive nature that I could feel from him. And I've run across people like this in my life where they are so competitive, they don't want to lose. Melissa's like that somewhat. Melissa has that in her. She has that, like, it's ingrained in them not to lose. And what I mean by that is there's like a physical reaction to either being belittled or losing that it's unbearable for some people. And I think that's what makes a lot of people successful, because for them to feel at ease and comfortable, they have to be winning. So they will do whatever it takes to win and feel very uncomfortable if they are not winning. And I think for themselves, it's a lot of stress on them. But they will bear it's a lot of stress to do it, but I think it's more stress to lose or in certain things. And from him, I got that vibe when he talked about that he did 3 different sports. Like that, he is a beast, and I feel like it just translated into social media, and he just grew that to what it is. And then also, there's another theory too that I have about him. They were saying that, or he was saying that his goal is to connect people. That's his goal, right? And he wants to more or less recreate the presence of another person when they're there. So he was saying that he is just trying to improve the Oculus so that you can feel like a person is there with you. And that's just his goal. So whatever that comes with, like I said, he's so laser focused on, okay, if you need to feel like somebody's eyes are watching you, if you need to feel like, you could smell someone, or you could feel their breathing, or whatever the case might be, he is trying to incorporate all of those things into his platform so that you feel like another person is there. So as I heard this, right, I got this feeling that growing up, he did not have that connection with his family. And it's so crazy to me, because this is the things that happen when a person is deprived of something, whatever that thing is, and they also have that drive to prove or to obtain that thing. If they cannot obtain it from that person that they want it from, some people will bend the world to their will so that they can get as close to what they think they want is. And the problem with that is, I don't think that he will ever get to that point, because I think he is trying to get that connection through either social media or through whatever, through the growth of the company or winning or whatever. And I don't think he'll ever get it. But it was at 1 hour and 15 minutes that Joe Rogan had kind of talked to him, like, man, I understand, it has to be so much pressure to be you. Like the amount of work that's put on you and the amount of responsibility that's put on you and the amount of problems that are brought to you every single day must be almost unbearable. And it's 2 billion people. You are bigger than most countries in the world, and a lot of that, if anything goes wrong, is put on you. That must be a lot to deal with. And I felt like in that moment, it was probably one of the first times that Mark Zuckerberg has had a person understand the amount of work he has to do. I feel like for the most part, he has a wife who probably doesn't really talk about it or appreciate it. He has kids who he has to look after. He has people coming to him every single day saying, hey, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Here's a problem with this. Here's a problem with that. So he's always problem solving. And I think it's very rare that he gets to actually have someone go, listen, I see you. I see what you have to deal with. I see what you have to carry. And I want you to know that it is an amazing job you're doing right now. And I don't think anybody tells him that. Like, I think he might get the validation from, the numbers going up, the net worth going up, whatever the case might be. But actually being seen, I think that was probably one of his first times actually having that. Okay, then I have 2 more. So I think that they think AI is better than it actually is. I don't think social media knows people because the people are being fake. And I believe that Spotify is a better source of people because it's actually closer to who they are. I don't think that people will choose to listen to music they don't like regularly, right? I don't think they'll interact with music they don't like on a regular basis. That's who they are. If I like this person, I'm going to listen to that person continuously. There's no being fake on Spotify or Apple Music because there's no benefit to that. But on social media, you want to be as fake as possible because all the benefits come from that. But then what happens is they have social media where they now go, okay, if people are doing this thing, that means that is what people want to do. So let's continue to push more of that, which is not really the case. So if you have a girl who has a fake butt, right? You go, okay, she got a lot of likes. So now we're going to push and promote more people who look just like her because that is what everybody wants to see. And it's like, that's not really the case. People don't really want to see that. It's a spectacle similar to Mr.Beast thing. It's like, well, that's kind of crazy that's happening. Wow. But if you want to actually know what people are, I think music and Spotify and things like that and Apple, whatever, those are the ways to understand people. Understand, because you might find somebody who's on social media talking about how money is the most important thing and you got to get to the bag and this, that, and the third, and then find out that they don't listen to rap music, they don't listen to any music about money. All they listen to is music that has no lyrics. Like, you'd be like, dang, I thought that you would be more of a hardcore punk rock guy from the way you post. You're like, no, I just like to listen to serene sounds at my house, and I only play whale music when I'm at home. And you're like, what the fuck? So why do you post like that? And I think that that's the problem that a lot of social media companies have, is that they are trying to figure out people, but they have terrible information on it. Like that, it's almost boiling down people to saying, well, you are a person, so you want to have sex, so I'm going to give you a lot of sex all the time. And it's like, well, I like it, but I don't want it all the time. But like, you like it, so we'll keep giving it to you. And I think that's what social media is. And then the last thing I have was, he was saying in the podcast that he doesn't have a weight on angry emotions or the angry emoji. I think that that's wrong because that's part of the human experience and people communicate and connect through that. So for them to not weigh that people are responding to a post with an angry emoji is almost like saying that it's irrelevant to know that somebody feels that way about something. So that's almost discounting an entire emotion because for whatever reason. And I think that they won't know how people really are because they are trying to manipulate things so much as opposed to trying to understand people. So a lot of people respond to things with an angry emoji. It don't even mean they're upset. It honestly just mean I just don't like that. Or like, damn, I feel hurt by this thing. But to say that it has no value in the algorithm to me is crazy because why would you even have it there other than letting people think they're doing something about it? And because the algorithm does not know that this has a weight to it, it's going to be pushed incorrectly because people think that it's better than it is. Like, it won't have the right message to it. So, like I said, that's number 7 on my list. But like I said, I think it was a very interesting podcast, and I think that it's cool to finally see these people getting interviewed by regular people. I would love to see, and I think he's only doing it obviously for the new software he has coming out with the new Oculus, but we're going to see what happens with that. We'll be back here next Tuesday. You can find all the behind the scenes content on our social medias. Mine is Donovan Gray, DONIVANGRAY, and my phenomenal, beautiful, amazing girlfriend, Anita Byrne, ANETABURN. Okay? Y'all know what it is. Hashtag Bamboo Project 2022. Shout out to my guy Musically Challenged. I think that's what his name is on YouTube. This could be it. The candles could be the thing that put us into the next stratosphere. All right. So our life could change so crazy over the next 6 months. And with that being said, Bamboo Project out.